Welcome back to Bostin British Fittle, where Maggie and I aim to bring you as many varieties of different British foods as we possibly can. Today we're doing some more sausages, but this time a very old-fashioned recipe. These are dormers. This dormer sausage contains wild boar, boiled rice, breadcrumbs, egg, and is cooked in bubbling oil. Dormers are thought to be an old Cornish recipe, and the recipe for this one is written in Mrs. Beeton's cookbook from 1861. For this recipe, you're going to need half a pound or 230 grams of mutton, or in my case, I'm using wild boar, 2 slices of bread with their crusts made into breadcrumbs, 1 egg, 1 ounce or 30 grams of beef suet, 2 ounce or 60 grams of rice, some gravy granules or ready-made gravy, some oil for frying, and some salt and pepper for seasoning. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is get our rice going. Need that boiled. Okay, let's stick that on. Okay, that's that going. Then, while that's started, you want to grab a large dish like this, put in your breadcrumbs, into that goes your egg. Not with any extra shell, it'd be too crunchy for me. Okay. Just going to mix that with the bread. Try and get as much of that mixed with it as we possibly can. That looks good. Brilliant. Okay, I'm happy with that. And now you're going to set that aside. Okay. Next up, to get ready, you want to get yourself a large bowl. And then we'll be ready to move on to the next stage. Okay, so this is just finished. The rest of the water's just boiled away perfectly. So, into a bowl, you put your mutton or your pork. Obviously, I'm using wild boar, and that's not something you can get from an everyday butcher. So I recommend minced pork if you can get it. That's probably the best one, because as we're making sausages, pork's the obvious ingredient, and you're meant to try and chop it up as fine as you can. Now I've chopped up mine into smaller cube pieces, ready for this. So let's get all this in there. It's the rice all boiled. Let's get rid of that. Okay, into that goes our suet. Brilliant. Now we want to mix them together. Mix them well. The heat from the rice will help with a mixture of the suet with your meat. Hopefully your meat is still quite cool. So because we're going to be handling them in a minute, the meat should cool down the rice that's just finished as well as the suet. Okay, that looks good. Yep, that's not too hot at all. So, what we're going to do now is I'm going to wash my hands briefly. Then, as you can see, I've got a frying pan over there. So, I'm going to switch that on. There we go. And into that I'm going to put a significant amount of oil. So, see, that's quite good, a good generous amount. Okay, so now while that's going to be heating up on there, I've got my meat mixture here. Here's my egg and breadcrumbs. So, take some of this, try and mould it into a smallish sausage. Like so. Then I want to try and cover it in some egg and flour as much as I can. It's not working as well as I would like, so what I'm going to do is, instead of rolling it in the egg and flour, I'm going to take the egg and flour and add it to it and smother it on. There we go, that looks better. Yeah. Move that around a bit. I don't want to use too much of this egg and flour mixture. I think I can get 3 sausages out of this. And here the oil starting to heat up nicely. Okay, relatively happy with that, so I'm going to just set that to one side because I want these sausages all done at the same time. Okay, yep. There's another one. I'm going to use half of what I've got here just to try and put some on. I think the first sausage took up most of the egg and the bread. So the last one. Okay, we'll use as much of this as we can for our final one. Let's use half. Crumble it on as much, crumble I say, smudge, smoosh, smoosh, yeah, we're going to smoosh it on as much as we can. I'm intrigued by this recipe because there's no flour. The only sort of technical flour that you find is in the breadcrumbs, but here you go. No doubt these will try and fall apart as I'm fry them, but I'm hoping the egg mixture will help. Okay. That's my 3. Let's wash my hands. Okay, go. And these 2 away. And then in we go. So while they're frying, and some pepper to each. And some salt. And boil your kettle up and prepare your gravy. Feels a lot firmer now, everything's starting to hold together. I hope anyway. Come on, turn over. Doesn't want to turn over. That feels quite firm on that side, so that's holding that one together well. These aren't going to take long at all. Add a bit more pepper to this side and salt. Obviously, I'm preparing my gravy for the stuff in. Get it as thick as you like. That's looking good already. And once the sausages are done, I'll have something for you to look at. Hi guys. Before we go any further, please don't forget to follow, like and subscribe my YouTube channel to get updates on all the other British foods I'm going to try. And if you can think of any other British foods that I might like to try, go on to my Blue Sky account, bostinbrickfittle.bluesky.social. And don't forget to also check out my Instagram page for all the British foods that I'll have tried, and you can see all the images on there. All right, thanks very much and enjoy the rest of the video. There we have it. 3 dormers, wild hog dormers, covered in beautiful gravy. Okay, I've got some of the covering of the dormer here with some of the wild hog, wild boar. That rich taste of the wild boar hit immediately. That is a very rich, meaty taste. And everything else kind of disappears with that. I'm going to try some of the covering, because the flavour of everything else became lost. Might be because of the fault of the boar. But boar was an old meat that was available in Cornwall, so it wouldn't surprise me if this was included in dormers. Okay, we've got just some of the covering there. That has absorbed the flavours of the meat. The bread, the egg and the rice have all soaked the meat juices within it. And so that's why the flavours are almost lost. So it is pretty much like a sausage, but held together really well. The flavours of the meat are predominant. When you get to the meat itself, it becomes a lot richer. And because of the short time of the frying, meat juices are there. And they cover the mouth beautifully. But what does the pupper think? What does the pupper think? Okay, let's try the pupper with some of this dormer. I've got some wild hog there and the crust of the bread, egg and rice. We're going to see what she thinks. She likes the smell already. Or is it a bit warm for you? Shouldn't be. What is it, Pupper? You try it. There's lots of excitement going on here. Look, the tail's wagging. Oh, and that's it. Rice has gone straight away. She knows there's boar in there. She's desperate to get that out. And there we go. Wild boar is gone. And she's eagerly mopping up the rest. That's a definite plus. Thank you, Pupper.